Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited for today's video. I've been waiting all day in the mail for this, and you're probably gonna be surprised because I picked up the new Patrick Ta palette. This is the Major Dimension 2, and I believe it's like something rose. Like I think that might be in the title. Anyway, this is what it looks like, and I just had to know. You know, I've been so hot and cold with the original palette. This is the original and I do really like it, but then I'm also like, is it worth it? I don't know. Like, you know, it's tough. So I was like, you know what? This new one's calling my name. I thought that I could give you guys some comparison since I happen to have the first one. And also because the Sephora sale is going on, I figured I could get a review up for you guys if you were interested as well. And, you know, give you some thoughts. So that way maybe you could save a little bit of money on it if you were gonna purchase it. So like I said, let me hold both of them up really fast just here in the beginning. I'll probably have some more like swatches. We'll get into those in a second. Definitely check timestamps for where you want to go, but this is the new one and this is the old one. So definitely different, but definitely both really neutral, which, you know, it's just where I'm at right now. This is neutral yet rosy, and that had me excited. I've been really embracing wanting neutrals lately, and so this was very yummy looking to me. The packaging is slightly different than the original as well. It's more mirrored almost with like a border on the new one, and the old one doesn't have that, but they do like stack and they're the same like size and stuff. So I think we'll just get into swatches first, so stay tuned for that right now. I'm going to describe all of them in here, and I'll also compare them on my arm so you can see the differences between them. I will say really fast, something I was really excited about was that I knew from pictures, I didn't see swatch pictures, but pictures of the palette, what I was looking out for was what's going to be matte and what's going to be shimmery, and I was really happy that this one is actually half and half, whereas, you know, the original was a little bit different. This seems to be a lot more standard and a lot of those more, you know, special shades in the palette. So that had me excited. Anyway, let's get into swatches. All right, so looking at it, you can definitely tell this is a rosy palette. The top row, excluding the two end shades, which are creams, are shimmers, and the bottom row are all mattes. There also is one duochrome in here as well. But starting with the top row, the first shade is actually a cream. This is a really beautiful rosy neutral shade, almost kind of a mauvey rosy brown. I'm actually really excited for this one out of all of the creams. I feel like, you know, I get the use of the creams, but in the first palette I wasn't as excited. These ones seem a lot more creamy, a little bit thinner, but with this color I'm really excited for it. Next we have a dark burgundy brown type shade. It's definitely like burgundy with like a brownish undertone. It has a slight duochrome to it, and this one is different in the shimmer formula from the rest. It's a little bit more like a higher shine satin or like a soft metallic, I would say, which I'm also excited about because I feel like it'll be really good for deepening up if you don't want to do a matte. Next we have a shade, and this one actually looks quite duochrome almost as well. It's like a pink based eyeshadow with tons of gold flecky kind of glitter particles in it. It's not real glitter, it's those like mica chunks, but it definitely is quite sparkly. It definitely looks to have texture, but I would say overall the shadow is very smooth. So that one's really quite beautiful. The gold really shines out over the pink in that one. The next shade is more rosy pink. This one's more of like your true duochrome where the two colors are coming from the same source. So it's gonna be gold in one light and more of like a cooler toned pink in another, as opposed to the last shade, which stays pink and stays gold at the same time because it's like two different things doing that. This one is, again, more of that true duochrome. This one's also a bit more sheer, which I love that type of formula for something sparkly. Next, we have one of my favorite shades, the one I'm most excited to use probably. This is a really beautiful rosy color. This also has a bit more of that sheerness, and it has tons of sparkle in it, lots of different colors, almost something kind of champagne happening, something kind of silvery happening in the sparkle on this one. Really love that, super excited to wear it. And then the last shade in the top row, this one is like a golden champagne sparkle. I think a lot of people are gonna love this one. It is more gold, but there's this tiny tinge of rose, just enough to like tie it into the palette, but I feel like it definitely adds something really fun. Again, kind of sparkly. I would say you could get full opacity with this if you wanted to, but you could also sheer it out a bit and get that sparkle to really shine At least that's what I'm assuming. So I'm so excited. Really love all the shades in the top row. Moving on to the second row. Again, we're starting off with a cream. This one is quite dark. I really love that the two creams in this are wildly different. Like, you can easily tell how different they are and how different they would work in an eye look. And I feel like the original, they were pretty close. Anyway, this is a really dark, reddened, kind of rosy brown. Really stunning. I just love when browns have that interesting quality to them, and that's how this one is. Next, for the first matte, this almost feels like the powder shadow to the cream. So it's a similar kind of burgundy brown where it looks very brown, but if you were to put it right next to a normal brown, it would show the kind of rosy red burgundy undertones. Next, this is a warmer shade. This is one of those kind of warm terracotta type shades, but again, just a tiny rose tinge to me. That makes it a little bit less orange and more on the red side. Next, a shade I'm so excited to use. This is a dusty, rosy plum brown. It's not too deep though. It's not too brown. This is probably one of the more like rosy tones. Love that one, so excited to use it. Then we have a softer, more warm toned version of that last shade. This one is like a rosy tone, like a rosy brown, but it leans a lot more warm than it does like cool and mauve. And then last, we have a peachy shade in here. This one also has like a pinkish rosy undertone to the peach. It almost is like a light peachy pink. So that is the palette. Here are the comparison swatches. So on the top row is the new palette, the second one, and the bottom row is the original. I do think these are different, and you can see in the tones of the mattes, like the more rosy tones in there. I do think some of the darker shades are quite similar, like the darker matte shades. They do have these slight differences of like how red or not a color is, but they're kind of similar, but different, you know. There is this like bronzy shade in the original palette that has a pink hue to it, and I do feel like almost that color could fit in the new palette because it has something rosy about it. There's no exact dupe. The original definitely is more of like a true neutral palette as opposed to the new one, which has a lot of rosiness going on. Okay, I hope those swatches were helpful and the comparisons, so that way you guys can decide if it's different enough for you, if one or the other is better. I definitely want to get into this eye look though, so let's zoom us in. I don't exactly know what I'm gonna do. Obviously something rosy. That's a given, I think. I'm gonna prime my lids with my Urban Decay primer potion. I'm not using any of my creams that I normally would because I don't want to like change the color while I'm testing it today. But that's probably what I normally would do. I also want to use one of the creams actually in the palette, so that's also why I want to still prime but not change any color. I think I'm gonna just start this whole shebang off with the matte shade, and I'm gonna put that just all over. That's like what I'm feeling, and I think it's gonna look good. I mean, that's my feeling anyway. I'm gonna take like a denser domed brush. I'm gonna just go straight into the palette with that, and I'm just going to lay that on my lid. I think this would be really pretty on its own, so I kind of just wanted to basically see that before moving on. And something I'm excited about this palette for is that I really think you could do easy, everyday, all sparkle kind of looks, or you could go really quite glam. I think today's look, while I'm testing it, might be a little bit more, you know, a full look. But I do think that a lot of how I will use it will be more everyday. Like that would be the normal for me. Okay, I think that blended out really nice. I did end up using my finger. I just find that's sometimes just easier. Like honestly, sometimes it's just easier. I think I want to go in and I'm going to take the matte shade. I'm going to put that on the brow bone. I usually do something sparkly and maybe I'll go in and change it. Oh, it's a little bit darker than I thought. So maybe not good quite on the brow bone, but we'll use it as a blender, I guess. Definitely, for me, nothing in here works as like a highlight, which I don't necessarily need that from all my palettes because I have a million palettes, you know, but I would just probably take and know with this palette that I'll probably use whatever I used as a highlighter to highlight my brow bone, probably highlight my inner corner. I want to go in, I think with this next shade here, that one, and put that in my crease, more focused on the outer corner. I can already tell that this palette is definitely going to offer quite a bit of depth because I'm using like these two shades and this shade, and I already feel like for me, you know, this is quite intense for every day. So I think that's great. It definitely adds to the versatility of it. One of the reasons I was excited to pick this palette up too is because I do use it a lot. The original actually as just the mattes. I pull for the mattes quite a bit when I'm using other palettes or single shadows and whatnot. So I was excited that I could probably use the rosy tones in a similar way. And I'm not someone who has something like the Pat McGrath palettes that are more rosy that have come out, you know, like last year. I think I want to just kind of go in and just deepen it. I don't think I want this tone. I think I don't know. That would be so pretty. Let's just try it first. We can always go deeper. I'm gonna go in with the second deepest matte and really focusing that more on that outer corner again. I really love something kind of blown out and romantic, and I feel like these tones especially, that looks so good. I feel like it went down a little weird on this side. I don't know if you can see that. It didn't happen like that on the other side, so I'm not really sure what happened there. I'm just gonna blend out the crease as I go as well. All right, I decided I do wanna go in with that deepest matte shade, the powder one, and that's just going right in the outer corner. I'm almost like, should I do a halo eye? I don't know what it is about these tones always making me want a rosy little halo eye. I might do that. I think I'm gonna use the second darkest color to bring that in the inner corner. I might not go as dark on the inside. Okay, beautiful. I love these tones on my blue eyes. It looks so good. I am gonna take my little finger. I'm not adding any glitter glue. I'm taking that rosy shade, the second lightest shimmer. That's the one calling my name for sure. And I'm gonna be tapping that in the center of my eye. These like shimmers, I think on just bare lids would look super pretty and kind of glassy looking, which has me super excited. And I bring it up quite a bit because I have hooded eyes, so I try to make sure everyone can see what's going on my lids, even when my eyes are open. Okay, I think that looks really pretty. I'm gonna go in before I like tap out the matte. I want to just do my brow bone. I'm using the Natasha Denona Super Glow. And now I'm just going to blend out the edges with that initial brush, kind of over where we put some of the stuff, and then I'll probably tap in also with the smaller brush I used. I might go in with some more product. I might just use what's on the brush, and I'm just kind of tapping over. I find this kind of solidifies the edges and makes sure nothing's too weird. I think for my inner corner, I'm gonna go, even though it's kind of dark, I think because my look is so dark that the contrast will be enough. So I'm gonna try that gold on the inner corner. I can always kind of try to brighten it up a bit with the highlighter if I feel like it's too dark. Okay, I really like how everything's looking. I want to go into the lower lash line. I think I want to just take, I don't know, I think maybe this shade on the lower lash line first, just kind of blending out and keeping it more to the outer edge though. I'm gonna bring that gold into my lower lash line, like down a little bit. It's kind of hard to pick that one up on a brush. I'm gonna add some bronze liner. I definitely wanna add something a little bit darker to my lash line so that way the pink doesn't kind of overtake my eyes and make me look too sick. I'm also gonna tightline a little. Okay, I'm gonna add some mascara and I'll show you guys what I think will be the final look. All right, guys, so here is the final look. I'm gonna zoom you in even more so you can really see it up close. I think it's really pretty. Maybe the halo eye wasn't the best idea. I don't know. It's kind of sultry though, so I like that about it. I love the tones. I think that's my favorite part. I like how the gold looks too, even though it's a little bit darker. I think it worked. I don't know. I mean, I think that my eyes look really blue and I'm excited definitely to play with more looks, you know? Sometimes I feel like on camera, I don't know, I feel like I go extra or do stuff I wouldn't normally do on camera, so it's always nice to test stuff outside of filming. But overall, really excited with this look and to try the palette more. But let me give you some thoughts. Okay, so now that I've done the look, you guys can see it all zoomed out too. I think it looks really good. Like, I think I look like sexy and like sultry and just like the neutrals that I'm telling you, this is what I'm like, man, neutrals look so good. I love it. So I thought I would give you some thoughts on this and some kind of comparisons. I mean, it's a first impression, so take this as you will. I like to always just let you guys know that, but my thoughts thus far. One, I do think that I prefer the tones in this one to well, I do like the original though, because I think the mattes in the original are also really nice. I like the tones of these mattes too. So maybe not color wise, but I will say formula and kind of finishes that are in here. I am more excited for this one, and I do think there's been some improvements, which makes me really happy because those are the things I was kind of on the fence, I guess, about on the original. So looking in here, I love that the top row, but for you guys as I'm holding it, the bottom row actually is all shimmers, and the original was not like that. There's like some mattes with like weird glitter kind of put in it and that type of thing going on, whereas we have some really nice shimmers all the way around. We get 4 of what are more like the shimmers in the original palette, which we only got 3 of those chunkier, you know, more piecey, as in pieces of shimmer in the first one. I love the addition of this like satin color, and I think the color that it is as a satin is perfect. I love that. I really like the colors of the creams in here as well, that they're different from each other. And I do feel like this cream formula is different. Again, I don't know if that's because I just got this in the mail, maybe something about it being in the heat, but it's not that hot out. So this feels like a more thin and slippy texture. Definitely really easy to blend out, whereas the original is a lot thicker, and maybe that's dried out with time, but definitely different now comparing them. I also love the mattes. It's all mattes. They're all those like creamy, nice feeling mattes, none of the glittery type thing going on. So again, just finish wise, I think this is superior, and it kind of like fixed all the weird shades to me, like the shades that had me like 60 however many dollars, like I don't know. So that makes me really excited. I love the packaging on this one. I like that they kept it the same but slightly different. Yeah, I'm just into the tones as well in this, so I'm really excited to keep playing with it. I really like the shimmers in here because they are a little bit more of that sheer formula, and I'm really excited to put those on just like bare lids or just over top like a cream shadow. I think that's going to be really beautiful. The mattes in here are definitely really pigmented. They remind me in some ways of Natasha Denona in that when I use them, they always turn out darker than I expect. So that's just something to keep in mind. I also think I had a little bit of, I guess, patchiness, but I feel like it wasn't a big deal. It went away. Like, it didn't affect my eye look. And honestly, I don't know if that's that different from my experience with this palette. I think these mattes are just definitely pigmented, and they're more the type of formula to me where you place them, wherever you place them, that's definitely gonna hold the most pigment, and then you'll like buff out the edges. But you know, you're not gonna like go in with one of those deep colors and really like be able to just get a seamless blend into nothing. Like, you wanna build up to a blend like that. Does that make sense? With all the different colored mattes in here, it's going to be more difficult to blend that one shade out. You'll use the other colors to do that. I hope that makes sense. But so far I'm really excited for it, and I think that these rosy tones are really beautiful. Of course, you know, depending on what's in your collection, what you're wanting, maybe you have tones like this. I feel like I've passed up on a lot of the rosier toned palettes, so I don't have the Natasha Denona Retro, like the Midi palette from her. I don't have any of the Pat McGrath palettes that have like, you know, the pinky tones, the Rose Divine type stuff. I don't have any of those either, and I feel like those might be comparable depending, but again, I can't give you those comparisons, so sorry. So for me, I'm pretty happy. I'm definitely glad I got it on sale. I was able to buy this with the Sephora sale, so I am happy about that, because these are quite expensive, but I do find with these that I use the mattes and kind of pull them. They're just really good staple matte type colors. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the purchase so far. Definitely excited, definitely good vibes from my first impression. So I am excited for that. I hope this video was helpful for any of you if you were looking into this palette. I was definitely on the fence myself, but I definitely so far would rank this palette higher than this one, just because the finishes, like, I want to use every finish in here, whereas that's not the case with this one. Look, you thought I was gonna end the video, and then here I am popping out this baby. I really do like the three more you know, sparkly shades in here, but I will say I think these might be harder pressed as well, because I have a little bit of hard pan going on. I have to rub my finger in a little bit more, and I found that these were a lot softer. Again, maybe these will like dry out or become like this, but I definitely felt like it was different, so that makes me happy about that. But like I said, there's just some weirder finishes in here. This one has kind of that matte with shimmer in it. This one's also like a matte with shimmer in it, and so I'm definitely happy that we get better shimmers, I think, in this palette. So I'm actually gonna end it here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, like I said. And yeah, I have like a million palettes to come. I swear it's going to feel like palette week on my channel. This is more of an unexpected purchase, and I already have a massive amount of palettes. So just be ready for palettes every day on the channel. I know you guys like eyeshadows and palettes like I do, so hopefully it'll be fun. But warning, it's a lot. Okay, I'm ending it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.